let's go ahead and go to our next story of the day, which has something to do with bullying too, if we want to bring up that word.
Yeah, it definitely could fall into that category. So in a Texas school, there was a 9-year-old little boy who was told that his hair was too long and did not meet the grooming standards for his school. So the administrators at the school told his parents that they needed to cut his hair.
There he is.
This is a little boy here. And it says here, the regulation states it needs to be cut just above the eyebrow, and then also on the back side, it needed to be above the collar of the shirt that they had to wear to school. And they've said these rules have been in place for 30 years. This is something that, you know, we haven't had to change our minds about in the past, but now this parent of this child is saying, you're bullying my child. This is part of the culture. This is part of who he is. He wants to be able to be expressive and creative and be able to have this look. And in something that I read, they said that they might consider making changes down the road, but that this year the rules had been set. So with a lot of backlash, I'm sure maybe that they might have to take a good look at that and decide if they want to handle it differently for this upcoming school year that has clearly started there. But what do you guys think? I mean, there are a lot of schools with dress codes. There are a lot of schools with standards. I remember when I went to school, you couldn't have a shirt that was less than 4 fingers wide. But when it comes to hair, I think that's different. I think that that is culturally something that you have to be able to be understanding about, especially in today's society in America, where we are a melting pot of a lot of different cultures and races.
Well, I just still don't understand how someone's hair can be a distraction to you doing your multiplication tables. Like, if this is school and you're about learning and it's about, you know, coming out of 5th grade. What grade is it? He's 9, so
9
maybe
years
like
old.
4th or 5th grade, learning everything that you need to know. His long hair, what does that have to do with making sure you can read at that level? What does that have to do with interacting with other students and showing them that, hey, everybody's different. My hair is long, your hair is short. I just don't see when it comes to, yes, dress code, I can understand it. Sometimes you don't want an extra cleavage, or
you don't need the bra
too short, you don't need the bra strap. I totally understand that, because it involves it involves skin and perception, and then you have to open up the discussion about sexuality if it's showing cleavage.
Right.
That's a whole nother conversation. But when it comes to hair, that hair dress code rules and regulations, they're pointless, in my opinion. I don't look at this little boy and be like, man, I really can't focus on my studies because your hair is long. I just don't get it.
It, to me, even opens up the conversation in terms of representation and perception that boys can have long hair too.
Right.
This is America. This is 2017, and you know, let's start to really evolve from the typical gender societal roles that we are forced into, right? That boys can't have long hair. If a boy feels so inclined to have longer hair, let it be and let it be known. You know, I have 2 small cousins, and now one is actually in high school. I can't believe that, but there's little DJ as well. So we have Damien and DJ. Damien, for the longest time, he's half black, half Mexican. Beautiful hair. We've always been so just like, oh, in awe of his hair, just gorgeous. And my cousin Brandy never wanted to cut his hair because she was just like, no, it's cool, it's wavy, it looks a lot like this. So for so long, that was part of who he was. He had a tight braid, one single braid. When he let it go, it was just awesome hair. In my family, we have a thing with hair. We're, you know, part of the Latino community, and to us, like, hair, we take good care of our hair. We love hair. We love big hair. The bigger, the better. I wore pigtails when I was in high school on the cheer squad. My family's just always been into it. So not until he got to high school, but this was at a private high school where he was involved in the football team. They said he couldn't have his hair hanging out of his helmet for safety reasons. Okay. So they want the boys pulling or hurting himself on the football field. So he finally cut his hair when he got to high school, which I even was like, oh, it's crushing that a high school has to tell my cousin that he can't have his hair a certain way. Why couldn't he put it in a bun and under his helmet? To me, that bothered me. But you're going to a private university, or excuse me, high school, so it's a choice to go and to pay to be there. Those are their rules and regulations. Right. My cousin chose to go there because for him, it's a great football program. But I think, you know, to Cornelia's point, I agree. Why does my hair bother you? Why does this bother people? And I think we really need to start changing that, because he's doing no harm. This mother is saying he's an innocent boy. He's very aware of his surroundings. So now he's starting to get a little resentful of the school. Why can't I go to school? Why can't I see my teachers and friends? Because I have long hair. And the mom says, I'm not going to cut the hair, because she's trying to prove a point. Right. Well, yeah, and she should, because unless some change happens, we're not going to see anything shift.
And you don't want to teach, especially now in the time that we live in, you don't want to teach kids that their differences make them bad, or that their differences won't allow them to do other things that other kids
keeps them from something.
Or because in their minds, I look just like my friend Brandon. Brandon has short hair, I have the long hair. You remember we saw the story with the little black boy and the little white boy. The little white boy wanted to get his hair cut short because to him, he looked
like
just like his friend. So to force a child to address at this age societal differences, even though he's probably not ready to even take it there, that to me is extremely unfortunate.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of your guys' comments. James says, girls have long hair, that doesn't distract anyone. True.
Right. So what's the problem?
Right. Misty says, I think it's ridiculous. It's not like his hair is a mess. I don't agree that anyone has the right to tell someone they have to cut their hair. This is about learning. What does his hair have to do with education? That's exactly to your point. Why do we have to even go there?
The teachers could spin it and make this a point of education to say, hey, look, everyone looks different. Let's utilize. My brother's an educator, and that's what he always says. You know, this generation is so different, especially when it comes to cell phones. And one example, instead of pushing cell phones out, they're going to get them and use them anyways. Use them in your education. Use this as a form of education to show these kids at that level that we're all the same despite our hair differences.
And Eddie Thompson says individuality is important to growing children. Let it grow. And I guess the story said too that he had been growing it for about 5 years. I see one comment saying maybe he wanted to donate it to make wigs for cancer patients. That wasn't specifically in the story, but yeah, what if that, what if that is a sidebar here, that this child had a family member with cancer, wanted to grow it out, wanted to be a part of it. I mean, you just can't be so quick to judge. And I think that just because rules have been placed for 30 years, that was the administrator's, comment that went out to the staff and to the parents. Doesn't that mean that, the society has changed in 30 years? A lot of things don't have to be the same as they were back 30 years ago.
And just because a rule is a rule doesn't mean that it's a good rule.
Right.
We've seen this, history has shown us this from time to time. So,
yes.
So yes, if there's rules in place and it makes sense for the group and for the children.
And for
but
the time.
again, if you make a child at that age, if you force him to address differences in appearances, then that just leads to a slippery slope. And unfortunately, this little boy is having to deal with that at 9 years old.
We'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
Let's go to Marcus Allen.